There we go. Recording in progress. Welcome, everybody, and welcome to the 29th Kwaai weekly public meeting. Happy Kwaai Day to you all. It's great to see a whole bunch of new members. We are normally we're tracking at about one member a day, and so we're at the 16th day of the month, and we've got 19 members joined in February. So that's an uptick. We hope to increase that, and I know that now that we've appointed a director of EMEA, Christian's going to blow that number away. But towards the end, we've got a space for member voices. Thank you all for coming. There's a lot to report on this week, the progress we've made this week. Let me just give you some highlights on that. I came back early this morning from a trip to Mexico. We actually, I drove down from LA to San Diego. Eunice picked us up from Kai's house, and then we went across the border. We had a full day. We met with ITT, the Institute of Technology in Tijuana. They're part of the broader Mexico National Technology Institute. And we didn't know what the meeting was going to be about and what to expect, but we spent the entire day with them, the large part of the day, presenting to each other, and eventually we found that, you know, we've got a strong alignment in our motivations, and so I think we've got a partner, an academic partner, an ally in ITT. So I'm looking forward to further collaboration with them, and we are figuring out what partnership with academia looks like, and you know what programs we can put together. And I think that all of that, I'm gonna put it off onto guys like Christian and Afshin and so on to help us figure out what these programs look like and put the meat on the bones. So this is very important. Look, we presented what the mission of Kwaai is, and just a recap: we're an organization that is committed to democratizing AI. But that lofty goal we translate into very practical work outputs. We are developing personal AI in the form of computer software. We're researching into fundamental AI to make models smarter, faster, and greener. And then the non-technical track is the policy work group, which recently in the last couple of weeks has actually taken a leap forward in terms of progress. So really excited. All of this culminates in the summit in March, and so we'll be unveiling the progress to the rest of the public at our summit, which is co-located with the Scale Conference. We'll tell you more about the progress of that. Matt's got it all, some updates to give you on that. I just came off an IEEE work group meeting. This is a work group that we've been invited to participate in, that is developing the standards by which a personal AI can communicate with external systems. And I think, you know, what gave me just excitement that IEEE is taking this on, and it's very reminiscent to the POSIX standard that was the predecessor, or the POSIX standard to which Linus Torvalds wrote Linux. He didn't write it. He didn't just suck the requirements out of his thumb. He was actually writing to a standard, and this is a great development for us. We'll get an EMEA update. You all saw that Christian posted on LinkedIn that he's been appointed as director, and wow, Christian, you've got a tremendous following on LinkedIn. That post got thousands of clicks, and I'm going to hand back to our MC Matt Small to keep us on track. Thanks.
Yeah, sure. Christian, I'd love to invite you here to give an update. Say anything you'd like to say here on the EMEA side.
Okay. Uh, from my side, I can say that I am already studying how to try to engage the EMEA chapter. So I just observe at the moment. As you know, we had a great success in LinkedIn because now we are near to reach the 10,000 clicks. So it means that the message is going to be spread. So this week was too much crazy for me, so I had not so much time to get much more involved. But we have different ideas that we need to carry out, and also next month we will have a nice publication in Forbes. So this is a great news that I want to introduce because now the article draft is has been made. I need just to submit it next week, and in 1 month it will be online. So we will try to spread much more. We have a lot of ideas on the back, so we try to do slowly in order to do them, to apply them in the best way as we can, because we should start in very, very positive and professional way. So this is just my little update, and I hope that we will go in progress in the next future. I appreciate a lot the I work group involvement, because this is very important and crucial to have for us different publication in key journals, and this is very nice strategy, and I am very happy to be involved and to try to help to all the research group that are going to be evolving into Kwaai. So I am very happy. I'm very happy. We go very, very in the good direction, and we go also fast, and we are professional. So thank you very much to everyone, and we are in the good road.
Wonderful. Thank you, Christian. Love it, and really appreciate you stepping up to lead this region. Please, one thing we never asked in our registration form is, where are you located? So if you're located in EMEA, or you'd like to be involved in some of the formation, participate in EMEA time zone meetings, you're welcome to do that as well. If you're, for example, way over on the East Coast, you're welcome to straddle as those things get organized. But please join the EMEA chapter Slack channel and get in touch. Please raise your hand, and we can invite you in there as well right now if you've got if you want to be involved. Wonderful. Cool. Reminder: March 14th, the Kwaai Summit. Everybody should have this on their calendar. Your airfare should be already booked. Your hotels should be booked. We'll see you out there. Looking forward to seeing many of the faces. It's in Pasadena, California. We're co-located with the SoCal Linux Expo, the largest Linux developer conference in the world. This is going to be fun. After the summit, we will also be there at scale for the remainder of the week. We have a booth. We're putting together some booth art and pull-up banners and getting in monitors and doing all the stuff. So if you're coming to the summit, please do check in with us. Let us know if you'd like to also stick around and help us staff the booth at scale. We'd love for just people to have conversations. You don't need to know too much. What we really want from you there is to be passionate about Kwaai and help recruit more folks to the cause. That's really the most important effort of ours at the SoCal Linux Expo. This is a great opportunity to connect with a lot of like-minded engineers, those that would be interested in developing a Linux personal AI. So a great opportunity for us. Super excited to announce we've got our keynote speakers lined up. Still waiting on some talk descriptions for everybody. Our own Kai fam, thank you, Kai, going to be speaking about advancements in machine reasoning. He set us up last quarter with from machine learning to machine reasoning. Now he's going to take us another step further. Really appreciate that. Pankaj Kedia. Pankaj Kedia is a very well-respected venture capitalist in the AI community. He's really focused on personalized computing and how AI is a revolution in personal computing. So really excited to have Pankaj lead us off. Doc Searles is also going to be is also confirmed to be speaking. Doc's never been to Scale, and he's very excited to come out with us as well. Doc is involved in a lot of self-sovereign identity work groups, very focused on data privacy, hugely inspiring to a lot of our early work. Read The Intention Economy, a wonderful book by Doc Searles. Brittany DeVenter is one of our board members, is always celebrating that book, as well as his work on personal data sets. Informs a lot of how we tended to think about data privacy and security. So we're super excited for Doc, who's been a luminary in the Linux community for so long, to be lending his name and credibility to the Kwaai Summit here, keynoting for us. And then finally, John Willis, an absolute legend in the DevOps community. John Willis has been there really driving a lot of change from the cultural standards. He's written he co-wrote the DevOps Handbook with Gene Kim. He's been involved in so many DevOps days from the very beginning. And his latest book is really focused on learnings from other industries, cultural learnings from other industries, and specifically Edward Deming, and a really fascinating perspective and holistic perspective on how work gets done culturally. So we're really excited. John, by the way, is going to be kicking off earlier that day. He'll be speaking at about 2 o'clock on the Kwaai Summit. He also is running a workshop earlier in the day on using generative AI in DevOps. So huge pro tip: get there early on Thursday and get to that work group session as well. Final announcement: use the discount code Kwaai, KWAAI. When you register for Scale, it will get you 50% off. Cool. We had a lightning talk maybe scheduled today. My apologies in advance. The coordination of these is a little bit ad hoc. Please reach out to me if you'd like to do a lightning talk. Daniel, are you on? Daniel, Urad? It was maybe a bit of a miscommunication here on the timing here. The AI and Life Sciences group just had a really great presentation earlier this week from Daniel. We'll bring him back to share this with everybody. Daniel's got a company, Genobank, that's using blockchain to secure personal data when asking very sensitive personal questions to large language models. It was a really interesting demonstration of how to use, I think it was MetaMask, in order to make sure that the information that's being sent over is the minimum amount of PII possible in order to get useful answers. Really fascinating demonstration there. We'll bring him back to do a lightning talk here. Again, my apologies on the miscommunication. Let's go ahead and just move into the work group updates. We're going to start with policy. Ruth, I saw your face earlier. Would you like to jump in here?
Yeah, here's my face. I wonder if you can put up that slide that Mark has put together.
Yep.
That's it. Yeah, and you edited too. Okay.
I changed the color.
Change the color, and you did the spelling corrections too.
I got that one. Yep.
Sorry, my eyesight is not what it was, so I need to make this a little bit bigger so that I can Okay. We had an interesting conversation. Marcus last week had looked at some of the standards, looked at some of the language in employment contracts, and created a table, a chart of responses to that. What we got into in the conversation yesterday was more about thinking about the summit, the Scale Summit, what we're going to present. And we were still stumbling over this idea of the nutrition facts, which Lisa had just used as a shorthand for some kind of transparency based on the user experience of what we're trying to create here. Sorry, I'm going back to my notes. So we were looking at the guiding principles, and we came up with these making recommendations, the self-certification of the policy. So we were coming up with some kind of, I don't know if I'm making this clear, sorry, we came up with some kind of standard, some kind of certification that Kwaai could provide for developers that would have sufficient reputation and meaning for users, so that if they saw that, they knew that the development was as much as possible unbiased, and it met some standards of ethics and environmental controls as well, that we knew that this wasn't exploitative in any way. Kind of in the same way as we do with other consumer products, that we want to know where it came from and who provided the content.
You mentioned the kite mark as an example.
Yeah, well, I'm going back to the British Standards Institute, right, where there's some kind of recognizable sign. I think the European Union has a similar sign where you see that
CE mark, yeah.
Yeah, that you know it's safe in some way, however you're defining safe. So we were coming up with that. And I'm looking at Marcus's slide as I'm talking, so that's why I'm not.
I can add to that a bit. Right,
yes,
at the end of the call, we translated that sort of lofty goal into what can we practically do as largely tech heads. So I think we came to the notion that we will develop a collection of tools that measure models, and we will release those tools for third parties, anybody to go and test. For instance, what is the accuracy of the llama model, or what is the bias in the model? So I think you can do it with any sort of open source model. Or what is the cost, the unit cost, and then that data can be shared with Kwaai, and Kwaai will keep a leaderboard or a scoreboard, so that we would actually crowdsource. By releasing these tools, we would enable the sort of developer community to crowdsource the scores for each of these models. I think that would be a I think, Matt, you liked the idea, and I thought we'd air it here and see what the thoughts are about releasing such tools.
Yeah, I think a key part of the discussion today, or that we had this last week, was, who's that certification for? And then what are we going to be spending our time certifying? There's obviously a lot of models and, retunings and quantizations and, all of those derivatives that Balaji walked us through in his lightning talk. It was very interesting to kind of get to this sense that consumers, the people using AI, should have a sense of what they're putting into their AI. The thought that let's start there first, and self-certify the models that we are putting in to our personal AI, our own AI software bill of materials, but then inspired by the work that Diego and the team are doing in the AI and life sciences group, they were asking very objective questions to the models to gauge accuracy, specifically in their case around drug interactions. And one of the conclusions they found was 40% accuracy, which that would be not a great personal assistant. In fact, that would be the antithesis of what we're trying to help people show up and get right with things. So it really informs, I think, a mission of Kwaai, which is, help the consumer understand what this technology is and how to adopt it and how much trust to put into it, and how to interpret, both how to prompt and how to interpret outputs that these systems create. So really inspiring conversation. Please join us next week at the policy work group meeting. Get involved. And then Marcus's request from the group was he's got this link posted in the policy work group channel as well. Please drop into this this proposal that he's created and take a look and add some comments. Marcus has spent a lot of time helping people come together to make distributed decisions. That's his specialty. We talked actually a lot about a use case of using a personal AI assistant to help European assemblies, citizen assemblies, come together and be better informed as they're talking to each other. Really inspiring use case there. And Marcus is really leading the work group effort around the employment contract language. So please get in there, take a look at some of the proposals. He's trying to take a very humanistic view of things, human-centric view of things. And this is a very critical piece of Kwaai's statement to the world, that people will be using these digital assistants at work. And what are the rights and rules and regulations that may apply to that? So very important work that we're doing here.
And I think this will also tie in very well with the EMEA group, because Marcus is based in England. So that you're sharing a time zone, albeit an hour or so different. And then that's the problem with Marcus attending this evening. But him.
Marcus is having dinner with his family this evening, and we're always cutting into that. I see Debbie has her hand up. Yeah, please, Debbie.
Very quick question, just to understand. If somebody is at work in a corporation and they have something like Otter AI during their Zoom meeting, or would that be considered about like what we're talking about right now, where it's like a personal?
Yeah, that's exactly the use case. Who owns that data? Who owns the transcript? At the moment, the letter, the non-disclosure that you sign when you join a company says that any notes belong to the company, and you have to give that up at the end. You have to either destroy it or surrender those notes. And it might be the case that this is an intelligence. It's not just a note taker. It's a personal assistant. It's your tools. It's our thesis that it's your tools of the trade that you bring to the job. And yes, it may get smarter during the course of your job, but when you leave, it's yours. It's your property. The employer doesn't own it in perpetuity. But these employment contracts need to spell that out. At the moment, it's not clear.
So it's about permission, and also once if you are granted permission, is whatever data is collected during the work hours, who it belongs to. Let's say whether you are let go or you submit your resignation. Okay.
Yeah.
So as a coder, like if I were to feed code into my personal AI, we probably want to make a way to easily forget that and somehow tag stuff that I do during work hours is related to that particular employer, and then have an easy way to just say, okay, I'm no longer at that employer, like delete that information from my personal database.
It's really tough to do though, Josh. That's it. But you're getting to the nub of the problem. It's very difficult for AI models to forget selectively things. And it's turning the entire industry's argument on itself. When stability says, no, we didn't steal your pictures, your paintings, we just gained inspiration from it, then you can say, well, my personal AI didn't retain any knowledge, in its vector database. It's just got inspiration from from the work that I participated in. Anyway.
Okay.
Mike, yeah, please.
Yeah, just real quick. Just listening to it as someone that's run businesses in large organizations, I think we have a bit of naivete in what we're talking about and trying to do. Employers own you when you're at work. They own your output. They own your thoughts. They own every single thing you do, and that's the contract you make when you accept the salary. But what I would say is, before we get too far down the road, I think it might be very, very impactful to spend some time talking either to businesses about this concept and or some of the big trade associations that represent businesses, because without their support, it would be very hard to get some level of adoption to this idea, because you're talking about employment contract related revisions. And those are going to have to come from the employer. I don't know that employees have the power yet to say, oh, by the way, thank you for the job offer. Here's my clauses that need to be inserted. So I just think it'd be good to get some feedback, because I feel like we might be approaching it in a way that is altruistic and great, but maybe not practical for implementation or adoption.
Yeah. Well, okay. I take your point, Mike. Let's hear from some others. I think Mark's got his hand up. Mark Vega.
Thank you all. Yes, thank you all. Thank you, Reza. Thank you, Matt. And good to see all of you today. I love that there's more people today than last time. That's amazing. I work extensively with developers, and I guess I really just would like to get into the conversations reflected on this page, because as Reza pointed out, when you're a developer and you carry your quiver of arrows with you wherever you go, your know-how that you develop over time as a professional comes with you. And there is a demarcation between what the employer gets to keep and what you take with you. And so I think we're at a precipice of allowing that my personal AI to really help me advocate for myself, to articulate what know-how that is. And I'm very excited. I've got lots of contracts that deal with it all the time, but the idea of putting it here is really interesting for me. So I don't want to take any more time, but if I can be directed to be able to participate in those conversations where those clauses are being prepared, I would very much think it's would be worth my time and everyone's time to focus on that. Thank you.
Sure. And thanks, Mark, because it's not like we're doing this in a vacuum. IEEE has actually commissioned a working group to actually create standards around this. And I just got off of a working group meeting this morning. It's actually headed by Doc Searles. And it's this very thing that is being explored right now. And so, yeah, it's anticipating AI. It's anticipating automated executive assistants and personal assistants and so on. Okay, let's get back to
this last thing too. I'm carry Doc Searles bags, just putting it out there. Happy to do that.
Okay. Well, he's keynoting for us. Yeah. Okay.
Ruth, any final words?
Just, I mean, I'm not going to solve this, but I'm just going to add to it. As a professor, if I want to use my personal AI assistant to create my lectures, or, let's put grading aside for a moment, but if I've got some content and I'm at the moment teaching online, so I create video lectures, what do I do with that at the end? Does that belong to my educational institution, who can then get somebody cheaper than me, which would be difficult, but somebody, a tutor or somebody with less qualifications perhaps, but they're still using my input, my content. So it is kind of employment, but it's stuff on the job. So it's complicated.
Okay.
Let's hear one more from Kwaai, and then we'll move on. We clawed a little bit of time back with the with no lightning talk, so this is a great conversation. Let's keep it going.
Yeah, it's a very important topic, and beside what Mike was saying, which of course it's very important to take into account, you know, the employer point of view, right? But this really highlight the fact that all of us, there is no invention from nothing. All of us, we know things and we build things from others' work. So here we try to put a clear limitation between us and the rest of the people and the world. And I think it's a mission impossible. So we have to find a way more sophisticated way than just saying, this is me and this is not me and you and so on. So, yeah.
Okay, back to you, Matt.
Well said. Cool. Let's move on to the tools update, engineering update here. Cyan, hello. I saw you earlier.
Hello. Thank you, Matt. All right. So, hello, everyone. What we are currently working on to finish the POC is on fine-tuning the LLM model with some emails so it can get a persona. We're still working on that. We're defining the data source, but it is a work in progress. We're aiming to finish it by the end of February. And also, we are doing some work on implementing RAG. Can we jump to the next slide, Matt, please? Our weekly goals for this week, we're implementing RAG with the draft responses flow that we already have, which is basically all the categorization of the emails, labeling, and creating a draft response depending on the emails that are coming to your inbox. So that's something that we work on this week. We're also implementing the Llama 7 billion model with the RAG. It is a work in progress still. And we're creating the George Bush persona so we can fine-tune our model. Can we jump to the next one, please, Matt?
Well, let's explain the George Bush persona for a moment.
Okay, yeah, for sure. So what we want to accomplish with the George Bush persona is for the POC that we're going to be presenting on scale, it is kind of complicated to demonstrate how the actual model has a persona. If it is representing my persona or Riza's persona or Matt's persona, we could say that it is working. However, if we use a celebrity's persona, it might be a little bit easier so everyone can identify how the model is actually responding with a persona of someone who everybody knows. So that's why we're using George Bush. It could be any other president or any other celebrity, but we choose George Bush.
Thank you so much. And you know what y'all are doing, I think, is also just really important back end, you know, PyOS research here. We are really learning as we go, as we build, you know, this first application of what's really required in order for us to realize the vision with this personal AI operating system. So really fascinating discussions are ongoing in both the scale demo update channel, which is on Wednesdays. That's the user, still labeled as user group. Haven't updated that invitation yet. That's really where we're going to be focused on project deliverables. So what's the big thing that we got to get done for a project, for a demo, for a client? And so this is going to be an important regular meeting for us. But then on Thursdays, we're coming together and we're also discussing, you know, bigger picture items. So how does fine tuning and or RAG come into play? How do we implement a user experience that's friendly to download, identify and download this thing, to begin personalizing it? How do we set user expectations on what they should use it for? Like we were saying earlier, if it gives you inaccurate information, we shouldn't recommend they use it for something like that. So how do we help users really understand what it is that they're adopting and what they can expect from it? Really fascinating stuff happening. Please join us on Thursdays. Any other, you have another, oh, sorry, I broke that. Yeah, get on, this is a good time for it. Next week.
Yeah, so next week we're going to be enhancing the RAG responses. Uh, they're good right now, but there are some things that we can improve, and we're going to be doing some testing with the RAG plus the Llama 7 billion model. Also, we're going to be demonstrating the progress that we made until now in today's hackathon. So feel free to join if you want to take a look at what we're doing, and let's see if we can hack some code.
Awesome. Good call to action. Love it, Cyan. Really excited today. We've got a lot of new names on the list. We're sitting over 41. I know the otters are included, but really, really great to see so many new faces. This is the time when we'd love for you to introduce yourself. Please do. If you would like to say something, raise your hand. We'll try to call on you in order. And we'd love to hear from you. Our tradition is you might get called on if you don't raise your hand. But I would love for you to volunteer. If you're an existing member, you want to give folks an update, something that you're working on, a call to action in a work group, we'd love to hear from you as well. Of course, giving new folks some opportunity. Who's going to lead us off? All right. Well, you just cleared your throat, Andre, so I'm going to then call on you.
This is my first meeting, and I found it very interesting. I cannot code anything, and so I'm here more from the point of view of being a consumer with a medical background. I've had extensive experience in medicine and then also in the pharmaceutical industry. And I've worked in places like the UK, New Zealand, Australia, South Africa, and most recently, for the past 15 years, I've been in the US. So in the past, I've always looked to facilitate the kinds of the environments I work in. And one of my earliest attempts was to develop a program that improved a lot of patients who ended up at a diabetes clinic I ran. And this clinic, we had access to like 300,000 to 400,000 diabetic patients in Auckland, New Zealand. Maybe the number's a little bit high, but it's about up to 300,000. And so we developed a program that could manage people's arrival at a clinic, manage all the interactions, provide education, and then at the end of the visit, they would get a letter to their general practitioners, and then they have a phone number which would allow them to contact whoever had seen them in the clinic for additional stuff. So I'm talking, this program was operating in maybe 1992. There wasn't a comprehensive program like that before. In the clinic I worked in, we should have copyrighted it, but we didn't. People stole components, and having done that, I've sort of just did. That was part of my job, and then I've worked in industry, and I've worked in epidemiology, looking at like in South Africa, for example, hypertension and diabetes in the population, and the levels of controls, and helping to improve care by implementing standards of care and guidelines, and then trying to get all that information, put it into an operationalizing capability for doctors or nurses, or for teaching at universities or so on. So that's the type of thing that I've been interested in, and I've worked in every medical therapeutic area there is, I think, except for like surgery and maybe not urology, but everything else I've worked in, either at Pfizer or Amgen or Gilead Sciences or Astellas from Japan. So I've done all those kind of things, and I've had some access to large language models, but this was a few years ago when it was really early, and the company I worked at decided they wouldn't pursue that. So I haven't had any interest again until very recently. So I retired in about 2019. And then I ran a small consultancy, and which I've got bored because I was doing the same thing. And at the moment, I thought, you know what, I could improve a hell of a lot of my experience by having a personal assistant type model that can raise a lot of questions. So being an immigrant to the USA, for example, I find it was very difficult to negotiate the medical system. Speaking to my neighbors who are USA type citizens, have been born here, they even find it difficult to manage the healthcare system when they get ill. So I thought, you know, there's a huge opportunity to really empower patients. And my aim in participating with Kwaai is to see, you know, can we overcome all the restrictions we have, the policies, the regulations, the privacies? How are we going to do that? And is that something that this group would be interested in working towards?
Excellent. I think, you know, the life sciences working group will be an ideal place for you to contribute. This is the sort of things we're doing. And then separately, there's some other companies that are in the sort of orbit of Kwaai that look at drug discovery and those sort of issues. You know, I think you could probably, it'll be interesting if you were to get connected with them. Okay, thanks so much, Andre. Matt, back to you.
Awesome. And thank you, Leonardo. Please, let's hear from you.
Hi, good morning. I was one of the lucky members of the team here in ITT in Tijuana that got to meet and have awesome presentations from Reza, from Kai, from Eunice, and I mean, it was just a great day yesterday. I really appreciated the time spent by Kai and Reza, especially traveling all the way down to Tijuana. So it was an amazing, thrilling, and really motivating session of work. No, and it got me really interested to know more. So I think I'm going to be a regular member of these meetings for the foreseeable future. I really enjoyed what I heard here today, and just the general dynamics of the group. It really seems awesome and encouraging to try out new ideas of how to use AI in an interesting way. So I just tell you a little bit about myself. I've worked in machine learning and optimization and AI for about 20 years in the academic side. I have some experience doing research projects, academic work on these fields. And so, yeah, the opportunity of something like Kwaai to push AI away from centralized big businesses and into the hands of people sounds very, very exciting. I have one question and one just idea I got. So the use case I'm like imagining is for students. So I deal with students at different levels: undergraduate, master's, and PhD. And I think a personal AI for a student, especially students having difficulty in some classes or some specific topics, I think could be a really interesting use case for the tools being imagined here. That's like my comment and my question. I actually wrote it down there, but I'll say it. It was just a technical point where you mentioned the evaluation of models, no, that Kwaai could, for example, give to the end user. You're using a model with this type of performance. characteristics, or are you guys considering developing your own benchmark or standards for evaluation?
That's it, Leonardo. Creating tools that would measure models. We release it into the wild, into the developer community. The scores get sent back to us when the model runs, and we maintain a scoreboard. That's it. Now, for consumer facing, they would want to see a kind of a digest of that, a summary. They're probably not interested in the minute details of it, but in the same way that you get a CE mark in Europe, or you get other sort of safety marks that are consumer facing. The term nutrition facts is a consumer facing concept. So model nutrition facts, you see the specification of the model would be visible for everyone, but there'd probably be a lot of detail inside each one of those tests. Okay.
Great. Thanks, Reza. So thanks again, and thanks for giving me the time.
It was a pleasure, Leonardo. Thank you.
Thank you, Leonardo. Yeah, Kai, let's hear from you. And then there's one more new person I'd love to hear from.
Yeah, I just want to say, Leonardo, I was impressed about what you guys presented. It's so rich. And when we talk about the benchmark, maybe it's a fantastic collaboration there, because you guys can dig in and fine tune the benchmark of the model. And then your pool of student, fantastic for that as well. So, yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, love it. And also speaks to how Kwaai is building this movement, and where are the workers going to come from to do all of this crazy stuff that we're talking about on a weekly basis. We have a really amazing opportunity to inspire academia, to inspire enterprise partners, and to inspire the world to kind of come together around these things and contribute what they can, and who they can, and when they can. So this has been a really inspiring week for me to see a lot of that coming together and hear about what's happening down in Tijuana and all of these things. So fantastic. There's one more new name. I'll come back to you there, Toby. Daniel, do you want to say hello? Daniel Eduardo.
Hi, everybody. My name is Daniel Hernandez. I'm also one of the lucky persons that was present yesterday in the meeting with Reza and Kai and the people from Arcus Nexus. I just want to say thank you very much for the invitation. I am also sure that I'll be a regular participant in these activities. I'm also really excited about the opportunity to try and collaborate and help improve this community. I think the project is really interesting. I'm a bit more on the practical side, so I already started searching for the model, for the Llama model. I already submitted to try and get a version. I'm gonna try and mount it. I'm gonna try and put it on my servers and try and see what I can bring to the table and whatever ideas come to mind. So I'm really excited for the opportunity, and as I said yesterday, I hope we can have some fun.
That's great. Thanks.
Oh, I love it. And the tools team is also really inspired here. We are still looking to come together as a board and make a decision on the Pi open source licensing. We really want to get some code out into the wild and kickstart that developer engine in the open source community as well. So looking forward to our progress there too. Great to have you here, Daniel. Thank you for coming. We look forward to seeing you again. I saw Toby's virtual hand go up there. Toby, would you like to? We'd love to hear from you, I should say.
Yeah, I just wanted to say again, thank you to everybody. Every week that I come on and I see the energy, it really amplifies me to want to do more. So I just want to say thank you. And I appreciate each and every one of you guys coming on to this call every week. You know, we realize you guys are busy professionals, and the fact that you care just really, you know, makes me feel great.
Toby, we really appreciate you making introductions for us. Some of the key members at Kwaai came from the Toby Morning Mafia, and we appreciate your friendship.
Love it.
Likewise.
Yeah, thank you, Toby. I'm scrolling up and down this list, and it's so cool to see. We have doctors and lawyers and business executives. We've got developers. We've got front end. We've got back end. We've got machine learning engineers. Academic leaders. It's just really inspiring to see everybody here. We've got a lot of otters too. Did I miss anybody? I hope not. And we've got about just a few more minutes if somebody else would like to share today. Karsten, would you want to say anything, or Jordan, about scale or anything else?
I can just say really briefly that what I put in chat. Thanks, Matt, for the chance. That if you're looking for a chance to volunteer to work at the booth at Scale, it's a really great conference. Very diverse in all directions and vectors, and very welcoming and friendly. So if it's your first time or your millionth time, you'll have a really good time. And we're working on getting ourselves organized around all the timing and scheduling of that. So you can look ahead on and know what block of time you want to take and come down and do that work. And if you want to do that, there's a thread in the general channel on Slack, or if you prefer, you can send me an email to karsten@opencomr.ch. I also wrote that in the I'll write that in the message below as well. And we'll start just a quick thread amongst people who want to just organize and get booth scheduling and anything else aligned. That's the primary thing. There's that whole slide deck is trying to have be one place to go to for any questions and answers. So if there's anything missing, and I've seen a few things that can be added so far, then let's add it. And more editors and more help on that is welcome. So just make requests to.
Karsten, let me just jump in there. It occurs to me that Friday, the 15th of March, will be Kwaai Day. So let me suggest that we actually stream it live from the booth, from the show floor. I think that would be really good, and it also gives.
Yeah. By the way, the expo floor doesn't open until 2 p.m. on Friday. But you got a couple of you guys. You probably one or two of your badges will be for the booth setup people, and they can get in and maybe escort other people in if you want to do your have one or two people streaming from there.
Okay. Yes. I mean, even with the chaos of booth assembly in the background, it's still.
Yep. That adds to the flavor.
Excellent. Okay.
Particularly if we're dealing with things like T-shirts or any other swag that can be a little bit of pre-labor intensive to get ready for the event. So there'll be a lot of chances to get hands on during then and all the way through. And yeah, excellent note, Jordan. Thank you.
Love it. Well, I'll give one more shout out to another one of our leaders, Lynn Hardy. I just reposted the message in the chat here. Lynn is starting to consolidate Kwaai, Personal OS, Personal AI, user stories. Please jump in there, add comments. She'd love to collect as many of these as possible. Who are the personas? Who are the actors? What do they want? What are the features that they want their personal AI assistant to actually do? We have the luxury of actually thinking about this before we release something into the world, and get in there and, please help us think. So student was added today. That one came up. Please get in there, add some more ideas. I know Lynn will greatly appreciate it. Lynn will be on our Thursday call as well, talking about PyOS architecture and future. Riza, I'll pass it back over to you to take us out.
Great. Thanks so much. Thanks so much. Another Kwaai Day, the 29th, I think. Yeah. So look, we've had a fantastic week. A lot of the stuff we didn't mention, we are feeling our way through what an organization like this is going to do and how it's going to operate. The broader thing, I want to echo what Toby said, is that this is not your day job. This is the thing you do because you care, and you're taking time from your day job, and you are investing in the future, investing maybe in the next generation, doing something, working to make sure that AI is better aligned with humanity. We've been exploring how would Kwaai engage with academia, and I think this trip to Tijuana was very important in trying to figure stuff out in my mind how we can do that. Another thing Matt mentioned, how are we going to staff up? We don't like the term foot soldiers, but people that are actually going to do the development. We've got very senior people here on the call that maybe give us 1 or 2 hours a week, and some give a lot more, and I'm grateful for that. We're grateful for that, but we need the full-time development staff. So we get that by creating relationships with software companies, and Arcus Nexus is one of them. I've had other conversations with other software companies, but also the notion of students interning with us from academic institutes like ITT in Tijuana. That is a great source of talent, and when we get to the point where they can intern with us for course credit, then it's a win-win for everybody. And so it's those type of structures that we are thinking about, and how does a grassroots organization really gain horsepower? And I'd appreciate your thoughts on how we do that, but we have to think imaginatively, because we're not the deep-pocketed companies. We are bootstrapping this. But I also want to thank Michael Nathan for his input on our funding deck. He said it sucked. I think that's a paraphrase, but we're working on it. And I actually
keep it real, Nathan. I love you, baby.
I actually took some of the slides for a test drive. Some of them work, and some of them just fall flat. So yeah, it's a work in progress. And
I'd like to help take a stab at that, Reza. So I'll be available. Like maybe we can talk about it on the hackathon. Everybody doesn't have to hack on code. We can hack on different things, guys. Remember
I think
that.
we'd have a seprate call for that. But I want to thank all your input on all these things. And again, it's so heartwarming that this is an organic movement, and work groups are forming without the sort of top-down control that you'd have in a normal corporation, and people are just getting stuff done. So thank you so much. Happy Friday, happy Kwaai Day. We're going to move on to the hackathon session, which is straight after this. Back to you, Matt.
See you all there. Have a good one, everyone. Happy Kwaai Day.
Okay, keep well.
Bye-bye. Happy Friday. Bye-bye. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.